Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Core 4 Show. This is Brandon Adams, your coach, your friend, your mentor, here to basically guide you through the journey that we all have been looking for, and that is to get from where we are to where we want to be. We have incredible guests tonight that you're going to be able to hear from and learn from. He's been a mentor of mine. He's become a friend of mine. And so I'm excited to share with him to our community. And one of the big things that I want us to understand is that Core 4 is building a brand. It's building a brand of trust. It's building a brand of transparency. It's building a brand of unity. And so in order for us to really appreciate this, I want to make sure you understand that having custody of your funds in your journey is going to be important. Diversifying is going to be important, but also being able to understand that in order to get from where we are to where we want to be, there has to be a sense of education. And so if you're not willing to mind your own business and educate yourself, then you're not protecting your time, nor are you protecting what's valuable to you, and that's your money. And so if you understand the journey that Core 4 is on with you, then I think that you'll find that over time, as you start to listen to this show, develop the nuggets that are so important in your life, and you gather those nuggets, and then eventually you turn that into something that is extraordinarily special. And that obviously is the financial rewards that you want for the season of your life that you're in, and also for the future seasons that are to come. And so stay on till the end, because I have some, great stuff to be able to tell you. I'm really excited about it. And just remember, the Core 4 changes mindset. We are changing your understanding of what a 9-to-5 is. We are changing your investment strategies. And then finally, and of course, we're building your retirement. So with that being said, we have challenges. And so the Core 4 challenge that we have is not just a fitness challenge. And this is week 2, which is obviously 10 push-ups every day. I hope everybody has gotten them in. Week 3 will obviously be 15. So if you guys have been getting those push-ups in, please put that in the chat. Please also hit the subscribe button and hit the like. And so that's our fitness challenge. We also are going to be working on understanding. My challenge to you is in the Forex is baby pips. I would love for everybody to get on. If you don't know about Forex, before you start to take the journey to Forex, please go to Baby Pips, and it's free, and you can learn all about the basics of Forex. And so that's super important, because you can get a quick foundation, and then we can fill in the gaps. We have an amazing team and amazing staff that can help you. Also, the book of the month. So right now, I haven't really talked about it much, but the book of the month is The Creature from Jekyll Island. And so I will be discussing probably just maybe 1 or 2 chapters in there, but I want us to really dive in as a community and make a contribution to this, because your education is everything. And so understanding how money works, how money moves. So just so you'll know, the book is The Creature from Jekyll Island. All right, so we also have a treasure hunt. And what is the treasure hunt? If you are watching and following this journey, and I ask questions, and we're going to start this in the next few weeks, and you're able to answer those questions because you have been not just a subscriber, but you've also been watching our videos throughout the week, and you're learning about who Coach India is, who Coach Vaughn is, who Coach Leonardo is, who James Bishop is, who Chris Pulver is. You want to get to know these people. And so then I'm going to ask questions. And if you're able to answer those in the comments and you get it right, the first person to get those answers right is going to get points. And so those points will eventually add up, and you'll be able to turn those points in for treasures. So enjoy this process of learning. Enjoy what Core 4 is attempting to bring to you on a daily basis, and just have some fun. So without further ado, it's time to go and just take a look at the community outlook. And so we always start off here with Chris Pulver. Chris, let's take it away.
All right, Brandon. Happy Sunday, everybody. Nice to be here for the Core 4 show. Let me grab the screen and let's chat a little bit for the market outlook and market watch. Here we go. All right. A couple things that happened last week. We have all-time highs in the U.S. indexes. The SPY, the S&P finally breached those highs. It's been in a 2-year drawdown, but we eclipsed the highs, all of them. So the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow all at fresh all-time highs. We had a huge jump on Friday with consumer sentiment, and this is just a trade that I took over the last couple of weeks. I was basically neutral on direction. If it went up or down, I made some money. So this is an options trade where I get in for $3.40, and you can just do the math on this close on Friday. I got out just shy of that $7.43 target. So pay $3.40, close out for roughly $7. That's a pretty good return on investment. The Qs really outperformed last week. Same situation here. Got in for $4.25. This one had a real value of over $15. So that's about a 3.5 to 4x return on just a couple of ways where it's like, hey, if the market's going to move, go up or down, let's get paid on it. Here's the DIA, same thing, heading higher. So this one didn't have nearly the push and the direction as the others, but we certainly went higher. I mean, it eclipsed the highs. The IWM is the underperformer. This is a small cap. But I'm bullish on this one since we had this dip around that 187. So you can see my trade here, 187 by 185. So active stuff this week ahead. A couple things I wanted to point out for the market watch. This has shifted quite a bit. So the Fed is not until the 31st, but what is one thing that's really interesting is the language of the Fed is likely going to be markets were anticipating 6 rate cuts, and this is the biggest change that I saw from the last couple of weeks. Right now, the probability is that there will be no rate cut coming in March. So the markets have shifted expectations where there's anticipation of about 3 cuts instead of 6. So does that shift the expectations for the end of the year? Not really. As far as the percentage goes, still 150 basis points that the market's anticipating, but possibly getting pushed into May and later on the year, not starting effectively in March. So again, I think this week, the big earnings coming out on Netflix and Tesla, those will be 2 that I'm watching for some volatility in the stock market. I think we have some risk on trading. We saw that with the DXY selling off last week. So I'll be trading Netflix. I'll be trading Tesla, some other notables. There's over 200 companies this week reporting earnings. I think it's 242. And if I go into the dollar index really quickly, we started to see a little bit of a sell-off on the dollar index, which is equated to risk appetite, good flows in the market. You know, the Aussie was strong last week. The CAD was strong last week. The New Zealand was pretty strong last week, and we'll see what happens. So I think that going into this week, I think the Forex market probably pulls back a little bit on the DXY. I would expect more upside potential with a lot of companies starting to report earnings. And if earnings are solid and forecasts are solid, inflation numbers are improving, everything that is still sticky with inflation is lagging. So it's shelter, and that's about it. And shelter is due to come down because it's still been, months of trending. It's like 8 months trending to the downside. So that'll likely continue to go lower. And I think that's also another reason that the Fed is going to be slow to cut rates this year, just because they want to make sure they maintain that restrictive rate policy. But for right now, path of least resistance is up. It's a melt up. Investors are a little bit more optimistic about the economy. Sentiment's not crazy extreme. So I'm not looking at any type of contrarian plays. And that's it.
Thank you, buddy. We had a great interview this week. Great job with it. Everybody, you guys go and please take a look at the interview with Chris Pulver, get to know him, start to understand what Streamwise Capital is and how it can sincerely make a difference in your portfolio. All right, let's continue with the core forecast. All right, so James, how are you, sir?
Live like a Super Bowl kickoff. Let's get this thing rolling.
All right.
So a couple of things I'll be talking about. There's going to be, this week is jam-packed with news. We'll talk about this, and we'll talk about some of the outcomes from the World Economic Forum that came up as well. So this week we are slated to have monetary policy tomorrow evening from Bank of Japan. Now, for those of you that don't know, Bank of Japan is still Japan is still the only economy with a negative interest rate. They are the only one in the world right now, and the only one that cannot get their inflation to stay consistently high to allow them to be able to cut their rates, which is a very, or I should say, increase their rates. Now they have been in a negative interest rate since 2016 and below zero, or at or below zero since 2011. So whenever they do change rates, this will be a very, very large thing that will occur in the market. Now, additionally, we have Europe that is going to be, or sorry, Canada that'll be announcing a monetary policy statement. That will be Wednesday at 9:45 a.m. We also then go into Thursday with GDP from the United States. This will be a very interesting one to see. I haven't delved too deep into this, but there's an equation that makes up GDP, and it will be interesting to see what parts of the equation are falling, what parts are flattening, and if we can see, net exports, for instance. Net exports technically are up, but how? Why? What's the contributor to that? Are we actually exporting more as a country, or is it just because we have an ultra strong dollar versus other weaker currency pairs as well? And then we also have new home sales coming out this Thursday, and then Friday, PCE price index. Now, for those that don't know, that is the measure of inflation that the Federal Reserve uses. They do not use CPI data, which is the widely reported data, the one that everybody talks about on the news and all the letter channels. They use a specific number called the core price consumption expenditure year-over-year data. They look at January of 2024 and how have prices gone up or down from January 2023 to January 2024. And that is always the last, generally, Friday of the month, or second to last. This Friday, as Chris already pointed out, we have interest rate. Next week, Friday, we have interest rate decisions coming out as well from the United States. Now, just a two quick notes on the World Economic Forum. Now, there were four kind of major pillars that they talked about. Achieving security and cooperation in a fractured world, which has been an interesting one to think about. Creating growth and jobs for a new era. Artificial intelligence as a driving force for the economy and society. And long-term strategy for climate, nature, and energy. One of these I'm going to call what I like to call the tinfoil hat moment really quickly, which is at the World Economic Forum, it was announced that China, the COVID lab in China, has created a new an X virus that they call it, that has 100% death rate in lab mice, which is, do with that information what you want. Who knows what happens with that? Why somebody wakes up in the morning and says, let me kill everybody, is beyond me. And then the achieving security and cooperation in a fractured world, that actually had to do a lot with cryptocurrency, which was really interesting. So, a lot more to come from that as I break down all the speeches and, go through my notes and kind of come up with coherent thoughts from my notes. But those are two things that were very, very interesting that I found from the World Economic Forum. Is big focus on AI, big focus on jobs, and continued focus on climate, nature, and energy. And I think I did it in 4, so I apologize.
Great job. One of the things that is important for us to know is that if you're watching this show and you don't really understand everything that Chris and James are talking about right away, that's okay. Because over time, you'll get used to the language, you'll get used to how they're speaking, and then you'll also start to pick up on, are they right? And the reason why they're subject matter experts is because they are right way more than they are wrong. I mean, James is getting a doctorate. Chris is a subject matter expert as well, 23 years in this business. So you guys have the opportunity to basically lean over the shoulder of some super smart individuals, and they're doing all the heavy lifting for you. James, you had an incredible interview with me as well. Hopefully you guys will get a chance to learn what James also does with insurance, life insurance, and how he really helps you to strategize and use insurance as an investment tool, not just a death benefit. Thank you, James. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the Core 4 report. what is the Core 4 report? The Core 4 report has 3 areas right now, and that's going to expand. The first area is we have our own in-house signals and trade room with Ghost Protocol. Ghost Protocol is 4 individuals who are amazing traders. They've been doing this for each of them about 20 years each, and they just get it right. And when they put a signal out, they're putting that signal out for a reason, because it's what they're trading. And just what I said before, it's kind of like being able to say, I have that smart person in the room. And in school, if you were to look over somebody's shoulder and, look on their paper, you're in trouble. But here they're giving you what they feel like are the best signals and best trades that are available. And so you have the opportunity then to choose, and that's the operative word, because we are not financial advisors. Everybody knows that. But you have the opportunity to choose whether or not you want to follow the journey that they are on. And that goes for the Core 4 Forex, but that also goes with your coaches. It's a choice. You want to be on a journey with Coach Vaughn. You want to be on a journey with Coach India. You want to be on a journey with Coach Leonardo. And so this past week, and you'll see that, like, we had an amazing trade this week, 63 pips. So if you put that in perspective, if you were to say, okay, well, I'll put $1 on the Forex signals, then you obviously would have made $63. And then if you would have put $10, it would have been $630. If you were to put $100, then it would be $6,300. But what you're looking for more than anything is you're looking for the consistency each week of our signals. So when I'm reporting to you what we did, understand that this Core 4 report is so that you can follow our journey and see if it's right for you. And that may not be 1 week, that may not be 2 weeks, that may be 6 weeks. Our community has been fractured with scams and all sorts of other things. So we want to avoid that, because we want to provide you with transparency. We want to provide you with trust. We want to provide you with real world facts. And by doing that, and you taking the time to actually learn and earn with experts, there's not too many opportunities out there like this. So thank you for joining. Thank you for being on this journey with our coaches. Thank you for being on the journey with Core 4. So now let's talk a little bit about our coaches. So we're going to bring on Coach Leonardo. Coach is going to take about 3 minutes. He's going to talk to you a little bit about yield farming. Now, I yield farm with him every single week, and I'm still learning. And I'm making about 2% a day, and it's looking real good and all the rest of that stuff. But to be able to have a conversation, and Coach and I had a conversation a couple of days ago, and we really just dove in. And to be able to interact with your coach and really talk to them on this journey is so important. And so Coach Leonardo is a fantastic teacher. He's been a fantastic friend, and he's a fantastic Core 4 coach. So, Coach, welcome. Take it away. In Georgia, not the state, but the country. It's 9 hours ahead. Go ahead, Coach. Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, no. Sorry. I was cutting in and out, so I'm going to partially present. But if things happen, it may just go to audio only. But there's a bad storm that came through here, and so just dealing with that. So really just want to say welcome. And once again, the comments that come through, especially when you're talking about crypto, a lot of people don't understand the crypto. They're coming into a world that is different, and it's been evolving over time. And now you are seeing mainstream adoption to a degree with the ETFs that come out with Bitcoin, as well as the discussions with Ethereum. And so really some of the things a lot of people are asking is, how can you take advantage of what's going on with crypto? And there's been a lot of really bad actors and bad things going on in the crypto space in terms of giving your money away and hoping that people are investing it for the right way, or not just taking your money. One of the things that really is a good thing about crypto is you have the ability to be what is called an automated money maker, right? Market maker. And you can provide liquidity into certain tokens and pairs that you're providing for the community. And I think, let me see if I could pull up my presentation, if I could present. Is it able to share? I am sharing. I'm going to share my screen. Entire screen.
Leonardo is not coming in. I don't know if you're having some technical difficulties. So Leonardo is gone. So hopefully you guys got a little bit of that as part of the game. So Coach Leonardo, like I said, we're getting about 2% a day. It's been fantastic. What I like about yield farming is that you're learning how to analyze crypto and to put two pairs together, see how they work, their relationship, and you're able to make fees off of the relationship that you put in with them. So anyway, great job, Coach. Coach Vaughn, man, how are you doing, Coach Vaughn?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Hey, Coach, we had a great week this week.
Yes, yeah, of course.
We had a great week. And I've been having a lot of fun working with you. And I just want to say that I really appreciate what you've been able to do in this space and the consistency and all the rest of that stuff. And so I'm going to, see if I can actually share my screen. Let me see here if I can share it. And basically what we're trying to share with you guys is just so you could see my account, and not even my account, but I keep a spreadsheet. And so that spreadsheet is, there it is. Here we go. So I did this for this week, Coach. Last week I told you I would do it. And so here it is. So Monday, 2.9%. Coach, how long were we trading for? About 15, 20 minutes? Is that about?
No. I'd say Monday, maybe 15 or 20 seconds. Okay. That was about 5 minutes that we did that.
All right. Well, you have a better memory than me. Tuesday, 0.94%. Wednesday, 5.11. Thursday, 4.86. Friday, 4.63. That was a total increase on my account of 18.44%. That was fantastic. And I just want to say that was a great job. I loved working with you as we do each week. And we're going to keep this running tally because people need to see that it's the journey. So on Tuesday, we didn't make as much. Okay, that's all right. And so there's going to be days when we may lose a little bit, but it's the journey. And obviously we want to have a net gain of wins over losses. And so I have no doubt that that's where we're headed. We've been doing it that way. And I have no reason to think that it's going to stop. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right. So now let's bring up Coach India. Coach India, she's also another binary options trader. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good.
How did you do? You and I haven't started trading yet. Our schedules have been crossing, but just so the community knows, I have to really dive in deep. And so India and I will be working this week, and we'll be able to give you a report as well. India, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So thank you, Brandon, for having me. I'll just go over last week. The account balance was at around 7,800. So this week it's around 8,200. So the profitable trades, I'll just go over today's was 62%, and the trading profit was $1,282. So I'm excited about where we are and where we're headed. Not only was I successful, but also I had a few other family friends that decided to basically share the experience with me, and they were profitable as well. So yeah, I'm just excited about where we're headed, and just kind of taking that slow and steady wins the race type of mentality, and just chip away at it one day at a time. So yeah, I'm excited.
Great. So one of the things that, the Core 4 community has to understand, like, you're going to be able to do way better than just the 2 to 4. I mean, just like Coach Vaughn said, 15 seconds to be able to hit the number. And we want to get in and get out. The goal is not to get in there and be there for 20 minutes, a half hour, 6 hours, and you're losing. We want to win, and then we come back and win some more, and win some more, and win some more. So anyway, so thank you for winning as well. And we'll see you next week. And hopefully I'll be able to show my Core 4 report with you as well.
For sure. Sounds good.
All right, guys. Well, the Core 4 report is over, and now it is game time. And so I have had the pleasure of really watching this young man and being so proud of him and his real success in this space for probably, I'd say, the last 2 years, it seems like. And he's become a household name for so many people. His journey has been incredible. I mean, there's the amount of knowledge that this young man has to be able to go from one to another platform to really try to identify what's real out here, what's not in the space. He's extremely popular. He's a great friend of mine. I appreciate the relationship, and we're going to have a fantastic discussion with James Pelton. James, how are you doing today, sir?
I am doing just great. Thank you so much for having me. Your intro made me tear up a little bit, man. It was very touching. Thank you so much.
Hey, listen, if it's real, it's real. This show is about real world opportunities. No AI fantasy stuff, no junk. This is real stuff. I mean, as an athlete myself, I coach a basketball team right now, and they're a group of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And so when I'm watching them, they've had all of this coaching experience. But one of them told me, he said, well, my other coach told me to watch YouTube to learn how to do moves. And it's funny because in basketball, you need to have somebody there technically to kind of help you get through either the effort or the timing or the rhythm. And so I really thought it was a disservice to that child. But in this relationship where we're trying to make money, and you have someone who's as authentic, and we're going to talk about your journey and how you got started in this, but the way that you are able to break stuff down and you actually show your spreadsheets of what's real, how much you've lost, how much you put in, why you did it, how it's working. You do AMAs. It just doesn't end. And I'm super proud of that. And so when we decided that we were going to work together and you'd be on the show, it just warmed my heart. So I just want to say thank you.
Hey, well, thank you so much. And hey, God bless you. It takes a special grace to work with junior hires. And so God bless you and those who work with junior hires.
All right. Well, good. So sometimes I feel like my professional players are junior hires too. So James, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what got you into this space of being really a content creator? I can't really call you a YouTuber. You're a content creator. You're actually sharing your journey of how to make money. What got you interested in this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a software engineer by trade and a part-time pastor also. So that's always been an interesting pastor software guy. But I was doing e-commerce, doing pastoring on the side, youth pastor, not junior high, but like college age. And, eventually I just kind of got tired of the 9 to 5. When my daughter was born, I actually, I would go to work, leave at 6:30 or 7 in the morning. She wasn't awake yet. And I'd get home at 6:30 at night and she'd go to bed at 7:30. So I'd play with her for an hour and then she'd be in bed. And I thought, man, is this the extent of my relationship with my daughter? And so I kind of got a little obsessed with, I want to start my own business. I want to get out of working 9 to 5. I want, freedom to do whatever. So I started writing different software ideas that I had. And I actually ended up writing one that ended up hitting well. I wrote some software that sends out mass text messages and ended up getting a contract with Ghirardelli Chocolate and Kawasaki Motors and, some big companies like Steak and Shake. And I was able to then quit my 9 to 5 and just do that full time. God blessed. I was able to hire 12 employees. I actually hired all my brothers and a lot of friends from church and things like that. Was very, very blessed through that company. And then in 2020, somebody came in, made an offer on the company. And I was really praying whether or not this is something I should do. Should I sell the company? And I prayed, and I told the company, I gave them a number. I said, this is the number God has given me. It was way more than the company was worth. And I said, if you say yes, I'll do it. If not, then it's not from the Lord. And they said, well, how'd you come up with that number? And I said, I prayed, and it's the number God gave me. Okay. And they said, well, that's very hard to negotiate with if you do it that way. And so they ended up saying yes. I sold my business, got started with that. Then I had some money to play with, and that got me on my investing journey. So I started with boring stuff. I did stocks, I did real estate. I had visions of being a real estate mogul, like you see on TV, and eventually found my way to crypto and just we were in the bull market, this would have been early 2021, and just crazy returns. And so I stopped messing around with stocks, stopped messing around with real estate, and I just started getting into crypto. And I was amazed by all the crazy stuff I was finding. And I'd tell it all to my wife every night. I'd be like, you know what I found today? And she told me, she's like, I'm tired of hearing about this. Yeah. And you find someone else to talk to. And I was like, well, who? And she said, why don't you start a YouTube channel? Oh, wow. And so I started a YouTube channel, and I had no expectations for it. I just wanted to show what I was doing with my money, where it was going. And then, after I kind of thought, well, if I can get 1,000 subscribers in 6 months, that'll be monetized. Maybe that could be a side hustle. But then I had 30,000 subscribers in like 2 months. And I thought, okay, God's doing something with this. And so since then, I just like showing what I do. And I found that resonates with people. There's a lot of fake stuff online. So I think somebody who's just, authentic and just showing, hey, I don't know that much. Here's what I'm doing. Here's how it's doing for me. And I think that's really resonated with people.
So thank you for that. And that's a lot like a synergy that you and I have with each other. And that is, I want people to understand the journey, why we're doing this, how they can participate, how they can understand that I'm on the journey, our staff is on the journey, our team is on the journey. You're not in this alone, and it's real world. Some of the stuff that you do is DeFi. Some of the stuff that you do is, and we've been in projects together like Hyperverse, and I know you were in Novatech and some of the other things. How is that like changed at all? Are you those non-traditional, not really providing true real world? Are they real? Are they not? How does that work now?
Yeah, so I've transitioned a little bit. Well, first thing is, I didn't make it very clear to people when I started my YouTube channel. If I could go back and redo it, I didn't make very clear that, I sold my business for 7 figures. So when I'm putting 5 or 10K into a project, this is like my risk capital. Like this is my throwaway money. I don't anticipate that making, 25% a month. I don't see that as like a safe investment where it's okay, this is going to be my nest egg going forward. So I kept a majority of my money in my safer stuff. But then on my YouTube channel, I was just talking about DeFi all the time. So people got the impression that, oh, he's a millionaire and he's putting all his money into crypto. I should put my life savings into crypto too. And so I realized over time, I need to be more clear that these are not some of them I wouldn't even call investments, right? They're more like a lottery game in some way, in a lot of ways. So I've just tried to be more clear about that. Also, through all these projects falling apart, when I did venture capital for a while, and our first question that we would always ask is, where's the revenue coming from? Where's the value add that's out there? And for some reason, when I got to DeFi, I stopped asking that question. I was like, I don't care where the money's coming from. I'm making, 2% a day. I'm going to just roll with it. Yeah. And so I've gotten back to those questions where is the value add? Because money always follows value. So who is value being added to, and where does the revenue come from? And being careful to see that it's not money coming in from new people. It doesn't have Ponzi-nomics, because eventually the money will run out. And somebody will be left holding the bag, and I don't want that to be me, and I don't want that to be my subscribers. before I started YouTube, before I had a larger following, I might have been a little bit more okay with messing around with things where you're not, there's a lot of things where you're not sure how much is Ponzi-nomics, how much is legitimate and all that. But now I have to be a lot more responsible because I have a big audience and a lot of them they just jump into whatever I talk about. So I've learned I have to be a little bit more careful about that.
So, and I really feel that because I care about our community. You care about the community that you serve. And with these Ponzi's, there is no care, right? It's just you get in, you know what your risk is, and then you get out. With Core 4, we have what's called the Core 4 coefficient, which basically breaks down, are you in the United States? Are you public? Are you private? Are you, do you have custody of your funds, the immediate withdrawal? Are you licensed? I mean, we have 10 things that's called a standard coefficient. And then we have a weighted coefficient within there that really helps you to identify what your risk is, how safe this particular project is. And the closer to 1 that coefficient ends up being, the better, right? And so that doesn't mean there's no risk. As you well know, there's risk with everything once you actually allocate your dollars to something. But to be able to find that, and then we offer a Core 4 true return and then a quadrant that will tell you how much money you should be allocating in a particular project or thinking about allocating. And so when you said 5,000 and you might have millions, so 5,000 scaled down to someone like myself or some of the other people that are in the audience, just like you said, they're thinking, let me throw my life savings in there because you put 5,000, 10,000, 25,000 in there. And so that's where this Core 4 quadrant really helps, so that people will know if this is the maximum amount of money I have to work with, then this risk for this particular platform is all I'm willing to do. So anyway, so we're in there.
I was going to say, I really love that because another thing I see wrong is a lot of people just kind of follow their emotions and there's a lot of FOMO and things like that. And I love having, like you said, a quadrant or a formula or something to kind of help you make a non-emotional decision. Like it's not good to just watch a sales presentation or something and say, oh, okay, I'm putting all my money in there. So I really love that you guys do that. That's amazing.
That's fine. So I'll make sure you have it and you can use it on your show. It's free.
Awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the things that are making money for you right now. I know there's plenty of them, but let's just at least talk about your top 3.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I brought my spreadsheet along if you want to share my screen. So this is the spreadsheet. I go through this every month on my YouTube channel, and I have a list of all my kind of more passive income plays. Some of them are crypto, some of them are not. And I try to just include on here the ones that have not fallen apart. So these are the ones that are kind of active. So I won't go through all of them. That would take, I do a full video on that each month. So you can head over to my YouTube channel if you want to see me walk through all of them. But up here at the top, there's a secret project that some of the good projects don't let you talk about them publicly because they're worried about regulation. So that might be one where you have to go watch my video, join my community. But on the crypto side, there's ones like Kirk, which Kirk is it's a company in Malaysia, and I actually flew to Malaysia to meet these guys. They're Christian guys, and they're buying doctors' clinics, like urgent care clinics in Malaysia, and then they fix them up. They add some quick revenue boosters, like they buy an X-ray machine, which only costs like $30,000, but adds an extra $40,000 a month in revenue. I mean, it's a huge, really good investment. They add like software scheduling, software, and things like that. And then they provide revenue share for the token holders. So this is one I put a substantial amount in. That's why I flew over there. I wanted to see it with my own eyes and make sure it's all legit. But that one's paying out about 10% a month. And again, I see the value add. I see the revenue coming in. They're real open about their numbers. They're Christian guys, which is a plus. So that's on the crypto side. That's my one that's making the most money right now. That's making about
minimum. What's the minimum?
There is no minimum. So if you go to kirk.io, you can actually, they have just an OTC, so you just buy over the counter. So it's just based on who's selling. So you can buy really any amount that you want. And then, yeah, it pays out that way. So that's probably my top crypto play. Another one, which actually this would be a good one for your audience too, but Biofi is a company that's producing a mobile phone in South Africa. So they're actually building a mobile phone, and it's a blockchain-based mobile phone, which is pretty cool. So a portion of the funds that are used to buy the phone actually go into crypto mining. So when you buy the phone, there's a wallet on the phone that immediately starts getting about $10 a month once you buy the phone. So it's actually pretty cool. So it starts you mining right away. And so they needed to raise some funds for this initial batch of phones to go out. So it's a $500 NFT. You can mint with a credit card too, which is kind of a neat feature. So you don't have to be crypto savvy to get into it. But then they're going to pay out revenue share based on how many phones are sold. And conservative estimates are 65,000 phones sold, which would be you pay 500, you get 650 back. So that'd be a 30% APR. But we talked to some advisors who said you're going to sell 1 million phones, which means your 500 NFT gets $10,000 reward from that. So it could be a good one. Again, that's another one where I flew over to South Africa to meet up with the team, meet with some of the phone distributors. Any of them that I put a significant amount of money into, I want to make sure I meet them face to face. I'm done with these Zoom calls for big amounts of money. I can't read people over a Zoom call. So I want to see them face to face. And again, that's another advantage of, in my crypto journey is I don't expect somebody who's putting $500 into, Biofi or Kirk to fly to Malaysia or fly to South Africa to meet the teams. So that's another advantage of something that I can do where I'm putting more in. I can go fly there. I can make a video about my trip, things like that. So in crypto, those would be my top two. Out of crypto, I'll just talk about one more. And then if you have more questions about any of these, happy to share any of them. But these Amazon reviews, Amazon has a new program where they let you upload review videos, and whoever watches the review video, and they put the review videos on the product pages. And then if anyone watches your review that you uploaded that Amazon's promoting and then buys the product, you get between 2 and 5%. And so you can upload as many videos as you'd like, and each of those kind of becomes a mini revenue stream where, it might only make 50 cents a day, 60 cents a day. But if you start doing 100, 200, it can be a pretty significant stream of revenue. So I'm working with a company that does it for you. So you pay $30,000 and then they do it for you. They've uploaded 400 videos for me, and it's been making about $4K a month, 3,500 on average. And I've been doing that for about a year. So those are three of my top ones right now.
So I noticed you have one there. We'll jump around here because your spreadsheet is awesome. But Daisy, it's funny because of all of the crypto plays that are platforms, Daisy still seems to be going.
Yeah.
And so many people, when I got involved in Daisy, so many people were like, man, this is too hard. They're taking 30% when you go in. They're taking 30% when you go out. And we threw all this money into Novatech and all this money into funds and all this money into all the rest of the junk. And just to think, if we would have just stayed with Daisy, it would have been a lot easier. Everybody happy right now. My gosh.
Yeah. And I have Daisy in yellow because they're going through some big changes right now. I don't know if you've been following that.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Yeah. They're doing some big changes. I'm having someone from my upline on the channel this week to kind of do an update with people.
Okay.
But you can look at it, these changes in programs, as good or bad things. They're presenting it as a good thing where, hey, this is the last chance to get in, kind of grandfathered into the current way things are set up. Then it's going to be changed and you can't do what you're doing anymore. But then you can also look at changes as unknowns. I don't know what that's going to do. So I just put it in yellow just to kind of highlight that up in the air a little bit. But I'll have an update on my channel this week for Daisy.
You know, you've been doing a lot with Biofi. I remember that, you know, you've been involved in that for a while.
Yes.
And Project 79 has been around for a while, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Project 79. That's another one. So Biofi, I've been working with them for a couple of years. And Brian is the CEO. He's a Christian as well. He's actually, I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he's in St. Louis. He actually drove up and spent a week with me, staying at my house. So he's a good friend, and he's a hard worker. And the Lord's behind everything that he does. So Biofi holds a special place in my heart for sure. Project 79, I flew to Dubai to meet with that team. So yeah, again, all my top plays, I always fly and meet them. They're having a little bit of, I'll call it internal team turmoil. So that's why I have them in yellow right now, is just because, again, I'm having someone from their team on this week to do an update as well, but they've had some internal struggles. So again, I kind of try to highlight that for my people, that, you know, good things that I think are pretty good to keep going, I put in green. And then yellow's like, you know, there might be some things going on.
Slow down. Exactly.
Yep.
It's good. I mean, you and I talked about the Amazon, and that's just a real world opportunity. That's something that's happening now. And when I look at your monthly returns, the average monthly returns, a lot of people might say, oh, 1% a month or 2.5% a month. I mean, that's killer. That's killer that you're getting that type of return. And if you know that it's safe and it's real, then why not? That's the type of stuff that you diversify. When you hear that the owner of Biofi is staying with you, and, you know, he's a part of your life, and you can reach out and touch him, that's the public that we're looking for. And then you're getting that proof of revenue conversation.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we don't understand that. So do you have a lot of like those where you've really worked with some of the owners?
Yeah. So Kirk, I spent a lot of time with the team from Kirk. I spent a lot. Yeah. Biofi. I'm actually an advisor for Biofi now. They kind of realized that going into meetings, I could present their vision better than they could. And so they said, hey, will you just start coming to our meetings and just present, you know, you just get people excited about it. And so I've been working with them. Warbots is another team that I've stayed at his house too. Jason is from South Africa. I went and stayed with him. So those are trading bots. Those have been going for 2 years, averaging 5% a month. So, you know, during the bull market, it wasn't that interesting, because 5% a month during the bull market was, oh, that's nothing. Why would we even mess around with that? But it did 5% every month through the bear market too. So that's one of those where, yeah, you look back and it's like, oh, if I had put all my Novatech money into Warbots, you know, even with the 5%, I'd be in a lot better position. And just to highlight that, DLP Capital is very boring. It's a real estate fund. And I put $100K in a couple years ago, and I made $22,000. So again, it's slow, but slow and steady sometimes wins the race. And just to highlight that, the book of Proverbs has been really instrumental for my decisions that I make. And one of my favorite Proverbs is Proverbs 13:11, that says, wealth obtained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. So it's kind of warning against, you know, we get those dollar signs in our eyes and we're like, oh, I'm going to go make as much as I can, as fast as I can. But wealth obtained quickly is going to fade quickly. But if you gather little by little, that's how you actually increase. So just being careful with the get rich quick. That's not a mentality that has ever worked. So just being kind of cautious with that.
Well, you've built up a reputation over these last couple of years. And so just to hear you talk like that, our community really has to pay attention. You know, it's good enough when you see, you're right, in the bull run and you're making 12, 15, 20% a month and you're all excited. And you know the bear market's coming, but how do you like make sure that you can sustain yourself? So with what you just said, where do you think this bull market is going to take us?
Yeah, so I imagine here, I'm gonna stop my screen for a minute. I imagine, well, first off, Bitcoin seems to me like, if you want the safest bang for your buck, just getting Bitcoin seems like the best the best long-term play for your money. I think there's still, we have all these ETFs that have been approved. So there's going to be trillions of dollars coming into Bitcoin in particular. So it's not going to make you rich. You're not going to 1000x on Bitcoin, but you will probably 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5x your money. So to me, that's like whenever anybody who's not in crypto says, what should I do to make money off crypto? And they're expecting some, abstract altcoin that they've never heard of. I just say, hey, buy Bitcoin. Okay. That's a good move. After that, buy Ethereum. That's the second best move. And then, Ripple, you can pick some of the altcoins that are in the top 10 or top 15. Those probably have room to maybe 10x or at least 5x here in the bull market. And just be cautious. When the bull market starts back up, we're going to have a new run of these projects that pay out 1% a day, 2% a day, 4% a day. There's going to be a new run of them. Some of them are going to work for a few months. And we're going to have what we saw in the last bull market's going to happen all over again, where I've been in this making 2% a month for 6 months. And then you compound. And then one day, the SEC shut us down and everybody loses all their money. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. So yeah, just be cautious. Don't, make sure you've learned from your mistakes. Don't repeat your mistakes. That's probably one of the main financial pieces of advice I'd give somebody is when you make a financial mistake, don't repeat the mistake or else it's, double costly.
Right.
So it's fine losing money if you learn something from it, but make sure to not repeat.
Well, again, these nuggets that you're giving, I hope that people are biting down, because learning from your mistakes, for me, at first I was like, oh, let me go to this next particular platform here because somebody's making money over there. I know that Steve is making a lot of money, so let me go ahead and put my money there. I know Stan, or I know Ed, or I know John, and we really weren't understanding, well, what is due diligence? How do I make due diligence really appear so that I don't get burned and I don't get rug pulled or I don't over leverage in a particular project? And so you've been able to define that and massage that. And hopefully with what we have with the core 4 coefficient, the true return, and obviously the quadrant, we can help our community if they're not as experienced, and even if they are experienced, to really have a non-emotional reason to go in with an investment. And
Yeah.
we agree that most people don't have that.
Oh yeah. No, most people are controlled by FOMO. They see on Twitter, oh, somebody made this amount doing this. I want to do that, and stay far away from that. And, 2 things I would really emphasize. I talked about it earlier, but make sure you can see where the value is being added. Where does the revenue coming from? There is no such thing as money appearing out of thin air. That's not how it works. So make sure you can see if this is promising a payout, where does that payout come from? And it better not just be new people coming in, or else that's going to collapse at some point. As soon as the marketing slows down, or some news of FUD gets out there, some bad news, and it's going to just shut down. And then I like to, Ecclesiastes says, cast your bread on the waters, and you will find it after many days. So it says, do investments, but then it says, give a portion to 7 or 8, for you do not know what misfortune will occur on the earth. So that diversification. So if you find, one thing, don't just say, oh, I'm going to put all my eggs into one basket. There's a reason that's a saying. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's, I think that's good advice. So yeah, hopefully between, your metrics and lessons that people have learned in the past, and, and don't listen to one YouTuber either. I don't like if there's people that are like, I just do whatever James Pelton does. I've made some terrible mistakes. I would not do that if I were you. I would take me, take Core 4, take some other YouTubers, take all this input, stir it together in the stew of your decision-making process, and make your own decisions.
Well, thank you for that. We talked, you and I, we had a conference, and I know you weren't able to make it. It was short notice that I had even mentioned it to you. But our next conference is going to be June 28th to June 30th. And I know you and I have talked about it. It gives you that that time. But I'd like to have you on the show again, just so people can kind of get an update on your journey and what's been important. But then I would also like to see if, you'd let the community come out and meet you, James. Can they actually meet you?
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. I would love that. Also, I'll even go further than that. If anybody comes through Lincoln, Nebraska, I will definitely meet you for lunch, pay for your lunch. You can come stay with me if you want to come to Lincoln, Nebraska. I put out a link, which I'll share with you guys too, but I put out a link. If anybody wants to just talk or pray, I love praying with my subscribers. Again, it's useless to have an audience if you're not connecting with people one-on-one. In my opinion, I want to not only have an audience that's just kind of general, but I want to connect with people one-on-one as well. So yeah, I would love to meet as many people as I can.
James, as usual, you've been awesome. Thank you. We'll have you on the show. I know we'll see you in June. Have you on the show again. And your insights are awesome. And thank you for being a mentor and a friend.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for the invite. So I love talking about passive income, love talking about Jesus. So chance to do it both in one place is amazing. So thank you so much. And thanks, audience, for tuning in.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. All right, guys, that was great. We're ready for the Core 4 replay. So I already talked about it. Listen, the conference is coming up. It looks like it's going to be June 28th to June 30th. June 28th to June 30th. It's going to be in Maryland. So that's where it's planned on being. We are going to open up all of the registrations so you guys can be there. There's only going to be 100 seats, 100. So do not be left in the back because you won't get in. So get excited about it. You got 100 seats. So we will give you the information the next upcoming weeks. I want you guys to get registered. I want to sell this thing out probably within the first month because we want to have some testimonials. One of the big things about Core 4 is the testimonials. None of this works unless it's real. And so our goal is to create an opportunity for you guys to be able to testimony all of the stuff and the journey that you're on so people can see what Core 4 is really all about. Number 2, website update. So we do have our pre-launch website that's going to be available for you guys. That should be up this week. It is a landing page. You guys will be able to register for the pre-launch. It's $50. One of the challenges, everybody on this call, you should be able to get 10 people to subscribe to the Core 4 channel. You also should be able to get 10 people to actually be able to be successful. It takes a community. You want to be around like minds. So just keep that as a thought. The pre-launch website is coming out. It is going to be awesome. And just to understand that, that's the beginning. It's phase 1. So phase 2 is later. So once you guys understand that you have the $50, you do have to pay for the Forex projects that we have. You do have to pay for Coach Leonardo. You do have to pay for Coach India, and you do have to pay for Coach Vaughn. All of that's fine. So just understand that we are here to help you. We are an educational company. So if you do not make a change in your life from what you were doing before, you cannot expect different results in your future. So thank you for being on this Core 4 journey with me. Thank you from my staff. Thank you from the guests that were on the show. Thank you, James Pelton, for being amazing. We will see you guys in future videos. And thank you so much from Core 4. I love you, whether you like it or not.